A very good evening to all of you. Welcome back onto the Future Trend series. As you know that we capture trends that we see within the week, bigger trends, try and capture those in terms of what the impact would be. We are approaching Dussehra and then we are approaching Diwali. So one of the big questions that all of you guys have is that is there going to be some kind of a stock market dhamaka on this particular Diwali? So we are going to address that today. Second thing, even on a small domestic travel, I shiver nowadays taking a flight primarily because of the way the rates are going. So it has always been in our head in terms of what is happening on the airline industry. Why is it that day by day the rates are only increasing, and when can we see some kind of a relief on that? So we are going to cover this very interesting because these common things affect all of us. A lot of common things affect all of us, and Markets Mojo in its best capabilities with its true honesty gives you some kind of an answers to this. The smallest to the largest ones, the largest in terms of where the markets can head in the next 3 to 5 years, what is happening on geopolitical issues, what's happening on the macros, what's happening on the sectors, and subsequently what's happening on the stocks as some of the larger issues, and even some predictions sometimes as funny as where the onion price is going. If you remember, we had a big laughter around last week when Sunil glaringly said that pyaz kharid lo, onions you should buy because onion prices will go up. Now, I had promised him, because this was happening last Friday on Saturday, that मैं सुबह जा रहा हूँ प्याज खरीदने के लिए, I am going to buy onions, and so did I. And I stocked up my onions, and some of the investors wanted to stock up the onions till December. But Sunil, onion का price का क्या हुआ?
I think Mohit, क्या हुआ तो दिखाते हैं, लेकिन not many people would be aware what we discussed. Can we play that clip just to jog people's memory what we discussed last Friday? Can we have the clip, please? Again, a prediction here. While the tomato price have come down, onion price will go up in next 1 or 2 months, and that will keep, again the inflation will move up. So most probably the third quarter inflation in India also can see a spike purely because of the food inflation. Food inflation accounts for almost 1/3 in the complete inflation basket. So that could happen, and onion is a one vegetable that you should closely watch. Probability is very high that onion prices will go up. It doesn't mean that you should go and store onion at your home.
Hi sirs, can we buy onions now and sell in December? Sir, मैं भी जा रहा हूँ सुबह सब्जी मंडी. I also tell my wife that we should stock up onions. I mean, I don't know what to answer on this.
So Mohit, had you invested, and I believe you must have bought a big quantity of onion. Now you can go in the market and sell 30% clear-cut benefit.
पर ऐसा no, स्टॉक भी बताइए करें जो एक वीक में 30% चले जाए ना.
सर आप हमारे PMS में आ जाइए. अगर आपको स्टॉक के बारे में जानना है तो आप PMS में आ जाइए. लेकिन I think see, this is the beauty about the Markets Mojo. We look at even the micro trend, and we try to see what can happen. Of course, to be honest with you, even I was not expecting 30% rise in the onion prices within a week, but that's what has happened. And before coming for this, I was also looking at it, what has been the price in the Navi Mumbai market, because in Mumbai, we have a Navi Mumbai, FMCG market, and the way the minimum and maximum price have gone up substantially really surprised me actually. Now the question that everyone would have, कि इससे और ज़्यादा जाएगा? Mohit, I think you would also want to know, because many people would still want to know that will it go up further? The way the trend looks like, I think there is still scope for onion prices to further go up. So don't expect 30% hike within 1 week, but yes, it can sustain at the higher level, and it will further go up from this level. Of course, it's not that by till December is going to remain such a high, because someone had asked till December can I sell or not. I think it's going to, because till the new Kharif crop comes in, this price will remain at the elevated level. So I think that's what you need to do that. Yeah, Mohit, over to you.
Yeah, so let's get on with the presentation. But before we go on to talk about some of the important issues like what's going to happen around Diwali, what's going to happen around the airline prices, there is an important announcement, and that is something that I wanted to share with you. If I can have the presentation. There are certain things that have been missing in Markets Mojo, which is the whole predictive part of things, which is where you have always come to us and you've said that you guys pick up a stock, it's a great stock, but there is already some kind of a rally that has come into the stock. So we have been quietly working over the last 3 to 4 months to try and replicate or try and prepone stock picking process. Now you know that there is the biggest selling property of Markets Mojo professional sub-factor is the Mojo stocks. Mojo stocks has a hugely high success rate, even if you go to the past list versus if you even see the current list. But are there possibilities of creating investor specific lists? For example, can I today pick up and say, give me companies which are possibly going to turn around? Now, in the current set of Markets Mojo's scoring system, they might be a strong sell, they might be a sell, but there is a turnaround theme that is going around these companies so that it enables our investors, which is yourself, to enter these companies even at a strong sell level. Can we get into these companies early on so that we can benefit from these companies before they become a Mojo stocks? Can you get into a small cap company which has potential of becoming a mid cap and then a large cap? Can you get into stocks which can help you sleep well, which is something like a maybe consistent performers, which over a period of time they are solid and they consistently perform on a longer term basis. Now we have been eyeing these 4 or 5 opportunities, and I can tell you with surety that out of these 4 or 5 till now, 3 have worked exceptionally well. In fact, they have worked so well that previously all the products that we've launched in Markets Mojo professional per se, these 3 possibilities that are coming up are bigger than any of the products that we've launched. This is a new era of Markets Mojo. We would be aiming to launch this 3 sub-factors and 3 dedicated stock picking capabilities. Can be around turnaround stocks, can be around consistent performers, can be around small caps becoming big companies, and can also be around stocks that in the next 1 or 2 or 3 months look like doing very well, which is near-term drivers are looking very strong. So these things are the, I would say, phase 2 launch of Markets Mojo, which we are planning to do towards the first week of November. Now I must tell you, Markets Mojo is the most discounted, hugely cheap version of a paid product. There is definitely been a chance over a period of time to increase the prices of Markets Mojo Professional Pack. We haven't done that for some time, but this time around in November, the combined package cost, which is including the new package that we are going to launch, can exceed even 50,000 rupees a year. This is something that you will see as early as next 10 to 15 days. So my request to all the existing members, we've always put the best foot forward for you. We are again putting the best foot forward. In fact, this is the pricing that we used to have 2 years back, that if you want to extend, please extend now. We are not giving a lot of time. I'm sorry for that, but please extend as fast as you can for a 2-year at 19,999, and we are giving us 6 months extra as our best effort out here. This is something that you will realize in the next 2 weeks itself, that how much of a big benefit you would have got if you had availed this today. Now, this is not a pricing that's available on the site. You will see a link where I'm talking. Under that, you will see a link, and this is only for the attendees of this particular webinar. If you are missing this webinar, then this is not going to you. This is only for the attendees of this webinar. The offer doesn't stand good if you're not attending the webinar. Since you are taking the effort to attend the webinar, please make sure that you click on that link and you extend. You can, as you know already, extend multiple times. That is, if you take this package 2 times, you would be paying 19,999 into 2, but you would be getting 6 months and 6 months free. You will be having a 5-year package if you extend it 2 times. Make sure, and this is a recorded webinar where I'm telling you this, that this price is going to drastically go up. So make sure that you don't miss a chance, and please, I am ensuring that we are giving you a good notice for this particular launch to happen. With that note, the link is going to be there throughout the webinar. You have 1 hour. You can easily, try and make sure that you can extend it out there. With that note, let's go on to the main agenda today with which we are sitting. Sunil.
Thanks a lot, Mohit. And my favorite slide before Diwali Dhamaka hoga ki nahi hoga? That's a question Mohit had asked me, and I had to do out some data to understand what happens to the market before Diwali. And of course, history does give some amount of indication what can happen. There is a pattern there also, which I observed. So I'm going to discuss that. And second thing, Mohit rightly said, whenever you used to travel, the price have gone through the roof. And I'll give you a simple example. My daughter wanted to travel to Goa, and she's going in December. It's not that she's going, and this I booked last month. That's in the month of September. But the price that we paid, almost 12,000 one way. So that's the kind of price which Bombay Goa used to be near about 4,000 to 5,000 if you are booking almost 2.5 months in advance. So that's the kind of price everyone is paying. So I'm going to discuss why that's happening, and should we expect any relief on that front in the near term. Okay, I'll try to answer that also. And of course, we'll talk about what's happening with there are few more other than what we are talking about, Diwali Dhamaka and the airline prices. We are also going to discuss about what's been the trend with the NIM and gross profit and net NPA with the banks. Very interesting data which in Hindustan Unilever yesterday presented post their numbers about what's happening in the FMCG sector. That's a very interesting data that I'm going to present in front of you. And of course, what is happening with the IT sector. That's a buzz right now everyone is worried about. But if you look at their attrition rate, the number of employees leaving the company, what is the trend that's forming there? So I'm going to discuss that also. Not for 1 quarter, but the last 6 to 7 quarters, just to get a flavor of what's happening there. And remember, for IT software enabled service companies, the employee is the biggest component. More than 50% for any IT software company, the cost component is only employee cost. And if there, I distinctly recollect, there was not so long ago, just to retain employee in an IT software company, people would say, okay, I'm giving you BMW car or BMW bike, but please don't go away. Or, just to match the employee leaving, he said, okay, whatever you are getting in the new company, I am going to pay you 50% extra, but please don't go, because it was extremely difficult. So that kind I'm going to discuss about. And of course, we are in a result season. Not many companies have declared the numbers, but I'm going to discuss about what has been what is the till now trend of quarterly numbers, and of course then positive and negative. But before that, a small disclaimer, this webinar is only for an education purpose. Whenever you invest in the equity market, it's subject to market risk, and past performance is no indicator of future returns. Please consult your financial advisor before buying or selling. Here, this webinar is not a recommendation to buy or sell any stock, whatever implied or implied in any manner. With this, let me start. This is the 6th which I anyway discussed before my disclaimer. Let me start with Diwali Dhamaka hoga ke nahi hoga. And the trend suggests that Diwali Dhamaka hoga. Why am I saying so? If you look at the market, and this is the 15 days till Diwali, how does the market behaves? And we are, of course, not 15 days away. We are a little more than 15 days away, but less than 1 month away. So that's the reason I have taken 15 days. And if you look at this market, in last 10 years, 7 times, the market moved up before Diwali. And my personal experience always has been that from Navratri onwards, the markets start inching up. This time it has not happened, definitely, but doesn't mean that it will not happen by Diwali. The mood will be definitely different. That's what is happening. Now, there is one more pattern if you look at it, and you look at the Sensex. 2015, it gave negative returns. 2018, that's a block of 3 years, it gave negative returns. And 2021, again the block of 3 years, it gave negative returns. So most probably, Diwali of 2024, it could be negative. That is next year. But this year, probability is very, very high. One more thing, if you look at it, within the mid and small cap space, I think last 4-5 years, the market has done extremely well. 2018 was an exception year where, everything, Sensex, Nifty, and the Sensex, mid cap and small cap, all three declined. Something similar happened in 2015 also. But in 2021, we saw only Sensex moving down, but not mid and small cap. But in 2022, small cap and mid cap declined. And if you look at this data, we have not seen 2 years in a row the market, the mid and small cap coming down. So I think that's one advantage that trend suggests that we will not see 2 years in a row market coming down. So that's a advantage, that's a trend that emerged. So there's high probability that Sensex should go up, the mid and small cap should move up. Now that's a Diwali Dhamaka is there. So don't be just one. Go out, spend money because market should be good. And a lot of retailers are hoping that this time the consumer will spend a big amount of money in this one. Now why airline prices are high? So it's a simple demand and supply situation. Now if you look at the demand side, okay, and if you look at, I've compared Jan 2022 versus Jan 2023, and if you look at it, the blue line is for 2022 and the green line is for 2023. Every month you can see there is a increase in the Y on Y. So on one hand, number of passengers traveling by plane is increasing. Number of people traveling by air is increasing, but number of airlines are decreasing. Now we saw very recently, that's in the month of May, Go Air going out of the business. They were controlling almost 8% market share, okay, which is very equivalent to almost Air India or so. They moved out of the business. And unfortunately, despite, when we say reform happens and this India has become a duopoly with Indigo now controlling 63% of the passenger traffic. In other words, out of 3 passengers traveling, 2 are likely to travel by Indigo Airlines. And that's the kind of dominance Indigo is having. And when you have this kind of a dominance by one player, and the second player is who? Tata. Air India is controlled by Tata. Air Asia is a joint venture with Tata. Vistara again Tata. And Vistara and Air India is going to get merged, which as we all know. So in other words, between Indigo and Tata, they control almost 90% of the market. Of course, Akasa, which has been launched, where Rakesh Junjula has a stake, has been a relatively small player, only 4% market share. So otherwise, and there are some other regional players who accounts for balance 6%. But I think the fact of the life is that, and I would be really surprised why did the Ministry of Aviation has allowed this kind of a duopoly to happen, which coming at the cost of the Indian consumers. I think we are all paying through our nose to travel by the air. And I think, and I don't expect this scenario to improve in near future. Why? Because Jet Airways still, even though it is what we call NCLT has come and the new owner has come, we don't know when it's going to take a first flight is going to start and so on and so forth. So I think the sorry state of the number of traffic is going to go up, and we are again approaching the festive season. Diwali time, more people travel. Why? Because of maybe because of Diwali vacation, because they want to go back to their hometown and so on and so forth. And that will. And second thing, we have a Christmas coming in, and that will again further put pressure on the prices. The price will further go up. So, but don't expect prices of airlines to come down in a near future. In fact, I don't see unless some new players comes in and announce a big plan. I don't think the prices of Indian Airlines, Indian City is going to come down very soon. So please make it mentally be prepared. Okay, you need to pay higher prices or you travel by road or a railway. That's the only choice. So I don't think, Mohit, I think you need to revisit your budget so don't expect airline prices to come down. Why? Number of people traveling increasing and number of players are decreasing with only duopoly kind of a scenario. Now, what is that new trend that's emerging within the banking sector? And if you look at it, we look at the three parameters: NIM, gross NPA, and the net NPA. And RBI governor has been time and again has been saying that there has to be more assessment by the banks when it comes to the unsecured loans. One fear that RBI very strongly has is that unsecured loans could result into a problem for the Indian banking sector. So what we did actually, if you remember, we have been kept saying that the best of the scenario is in the rear view mirror for the banks, and that's we have been saying for quite some time. If you look at out of what are the banks we have declared numbers till now, 6 banks have declared numbers. 3 banks have seen their NIMs coming down, and no one is talking about the NIMs are going to go up even going forward. Those have improved, and if you look at the improvement, I think the improvement is on a very minimal. Like for example, Bank of Maharashtra did see their NIM improving from 3.86 to 3.89. Is there a substantial jump? Answer is no. If you look at the Federal Bank, 3.2 to 3.22, it's 0.02. That's a 2 bips. There is not much improvement. And another thing which is happening, which I have not put, but maybe next time I can put, the CASA deposit as a percent of total deposit, that's been declining. And I think that's one source of cheaper deposits that's available to you, or the liability that's available to the banks. I think that pie is shrinking. And because of that, NIM could further come under pressure. So I think, and of course, HDFC Bank, we should also, there's a drastic drop from 4.1 to 3.4 purely because of merger of HDFC with HDFC Bank. So that don't expect that much. But if you look at the Bandhan Bank, drastic 10 bips decline that has happened. Something similar happened with Karur Vyasya Bank. So when it declined very substantially with 2 banks. HDFC I'm not including because of HDFC merger. But when it increased by just marginally 2 bips and 1 bips. So I think NIMs are going to be a little challenge for the banks. When it comes to the gross NPA, again, picture doesn't look very, very exciting. Those who have been able to improve on gross NPA, again, maybe 1 bps or so and so forth, but the increase has been quite substantial. Like, for example, Bandhan Bank, 6.8 to 7.3. Okay, Bajaj Finance, I've included NBFCs there, 0.87 to 9.91. And HDFC Bank, again, is a function of merger with HDFC, so it's not comparable to that sense. So, but anyway, just to information I have put it. And again, I repeat, don't expect gross NPA to improve further. I think we have reached almost a peak level. If at all any trend has to happen, it has to happen on a decline side. And something similar with the net NPA also, where we have seen that. So overall, NIMs are under pressure. NPA levels are at the peak, and only thing that can happen now going forward, NIM or NPA, it can deteriorate. There is no further scope to improve purely because of unsecured loan that's been the driving for the banks and NBFC. Now, the IT software service sector has a very challenging time.
Sunil, I have a question here. Sorry to interrupt. I have a question here. The trend that I have been observing also is that with your repos going up, with your higher interest rates, and your lending rates go up, to stay in the market with the same set of attractiveness, normally the banks typically drop their margins a little. You know, just to give you an example, if you today talk about, say, home loans, right? You are today at a repo of around 6.5%. banks used to put a margin of 4%, 5% initially, right? Now, for them to stay in the market and still deliver a loan at around 8.5, 8.5% or 8.6%, whatever, they have dropped their margins to stay attractive in the market. Otherwise, the customers are going to run away. So, is there any correlation here where when the repo comes down or when the interest rates typically come down or the borrowing rates come down, the margins can typically see a little bit of a hike? Because that's where, let's assume that tomorrow the repo, which is at say 6.5%, comes down to say a 5%. That time the bank, obviously, which is staying at a margin of 2.5%, may not fully give
pass
that
on the
benefit.
benefit.
And they may increase the margin to say a 3% by still giving the investors a benefit of 50 basis point, even if the repo is corrected by say 1%. They may give the pass on the benefit to the investors of 50 basis point and increase the margins by 50 basis point. So I think a lot of, in a higher interest rate environment as well, margins typically for banks typically take a hit because they still want to stay attractive in front of the customers. And when the interest rates pull back, that's when they get a clean chance of, retaining some of that benefit by increasing the margins. So that's an interesting point that even I am observing when I talk to the bankers, that margin is under a lot of pressure, primarily because of where the interest rate scenario is today.
So I think, Mohit, there's one more thing which is happening is that this industry is also getting a lot of fintech players, who want to come and give loans to the. So typically, a person like you and me would go to banks or an NBFC for taking a loan, and now you have some of the fintechs coming in who also want to give sachet loans. Today, which has come, that Amazon want to give sachet loan. And if someone else is giving a loan, that means that business is going away from the incumbent players, and that's another reason why there is a competition that is there. And
see, that unsecured loan can run at a very different margin and all this stuff. Most of the secured loans are typically, which is asset-backed loans, are typically with the banks or NBFCs, I would say. So small loan amounts, sachet loans, which are more like unsecured loans, which go at a much higher rate, right? If you today even look at secured loans versus unsecured loans, unsecured would be sitting at 12-13%.
That's true,
right? On a secured loan, auto loan, house loan, where you have asset-backed loans, you are still sitting out there. But all I'm saying is that I have seen, just to give you an example, I was talking to some bankers. They told me a very interesting thing, that during COVID times, when COVID was hit, the margins on home loans, can you guess what are the margins? 4%.
Oh, okay.
Right, because interest rate was
low.
in low. So when the interest rates typically moved up, today when there is no COVID situation or something, banks have to be, if tomorrow if the home loans go to 10%, if they retain that margin of 4%, who's going to go in for that? Everybody will be sitting on the side. So where there was 7.8, 7.9% of home loans that it was given at that point in time, it is only gone up to 8.5%, although the repo has gone up a lot. So that compensation has happened because of the drop of the margins that the bank did. But what I'm saying is that there is a bit of a correlation that I see with the interest rate drop and the margins coming back, with the benefit not being fully passed on. It's just a view that I have, which I personally feel that a lot of margin improvement is also dependent on how the interest rates would typically move.
That's true. And I think the how much you have a CASA as a part of your total deposit, because in case if you're supposed to borrow, which Mohit was saying repo, then you definitely need to pay 6.5%, maybe 7% to attract this. But if it is a CASA, you don't, in current account, you don't pay any interest, and savings, you end up paying about 3.75%. So that helps you to expand your margin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting. मेरे को आप गणपति की तरह बिठा दे तो बीच में कुछ तो बोलूँगा. He normally uses only to open and close the webinar. Okay. Carry on, please. Carry on.
नवरात्रि है तो गणपति की बात कर ली उन्होंने तो ठीक है. Okay, coming back to this IT, and I think as I was saying that it has been a big challenge for almost each and every IT software, and we as an analyst or as a fund manager, we're very closely looking at the statement from the HR guy, not from the CFO or the CEO. Why? Because retaining talent was a big challenge. But what was turning out to be a challenge seems to be now, the situation seems to be in favor of now the IT software companies. And people must be aware how TCS have reduced number of counts, Infosys reduced the number of counts, and so on and so forth. And they've also gone on the record say that they may not be visiting the engineering college for the recruitment. And once upon a time, it was a clearly situation that, oh, I want to be the first one to come and recruit the best of the talent. So if you look at this attrition rate, have started coming down drastically. Of course, we stated that very clear cut almost 1 year back that interest rate, attrition rate seems to have peaked, and there is further. Now, there are implications for that. Remember that. Why am I talking about this? See, the software companies employ lot of people. Number of employees employed by the software companies are very big number. Okay, and when they employ larger number of people with the higher salary, their consumption is much higher. Especially like the reason why Bangalore has been thriving in real estate purely because of lot of IT software companies, engineers, their salary went up, and when their salary went up, they could afford to buy a house maybe at the premium. Now the side effect of this lower interest rate is definitely some of the pockets where the consumption was driven by this IT software engineer. One was maybe the vehicle, that's say auto loans. One could be the real estate loans, that's a housing finance loan, which Mohit was talking about a few minutes back. And this could be the casualty. So I think we need to look at very closely because when you are not increasing number of employee, and in fact, number of employees are coming down, that means someone is losing job. If someone is losing job, that means there is some contraction of demand for vehicle loan and the housing finance. So I think that's where which will. And suppose assume that even if you are retained by the IT software company, there is a question mark in the mind of the employee. Will I be the next one to go? And if that is so, should I take a home loan or should I take a vehicle loan right now, or I should wait till the situation settles down? So I think, so these are certain effect which doesn't reflect immediately. It does come with a lag effect, maybe 3 months or 6 months, and that kind of effect, of course, will come in front of you again with the trend analysis 3 months, 6 months down the line, whether that cause and effect has really played out or not. FMCG, and very interesting data that Hindustan Unilever presented yesterday. I would request everyone to please go through that. It's available on the BSE India, that's a exchange website presentation, also the Hindustan Unilever. But what I really like in the presentation, when I say like, when which drove my attention, it's not that I liked it or something. So if you look at this data, okay, on there are two graphs which I have basically played out. One is that FMCG market price growth, that is, Y on Y. March 2023, it was in excess of 10%, which came down little low, and for September quarter, it further came down. There are two reasons. It's not that everything, one is that commodity related prices, because the commodity price started coming down, and that did not reason for them to increase the prices. That's one. But second thing is also the competition. Why there's a competition, like what Mohit was saying, passing on that this one. I think the another thing which is happening, the smaller players, and if you look at this data which has been said by Hindustan Unilever, and they've picked up two categories, tea and the detergent bars. While the large players grew at X in the tea business, that's package, the small players grew by 40% higher than the large players. And when it comes to detergent bars, large players Y, 6Y, that means 6X. अगर you 10% से grow हो रहे तो ये 60% से grow हो रहा है. That was not the case. I must tell you that when the commodity cycle was on the upside, large players were taking the market share of the smaller players. Why? Because smaller players did not have the wherewithal to buy the higher raw material cost because of working capital issue. So when the price goes down, that has happened. So I think it's a, sometimes we wonder why small caps are doing well and my mid caps are doing well. One of the reasons, FMCG is just an example, okay, is that smaller players are becoming more and more competitive and giving a good and tough competition to the large FMCG players. And if you look at the FMCG index, the Nifty and FMCG, in the second half of 2023, that is quarter, what we call half year to date, they've gone nowhere. In fact, it's a decline. So I think there is some amount of what we call challenge that FMCG players are going to face going forward. Number one, the competition coming in from the smaller players. Number one. Number two, I think the rural demand still it's not yet that robust, which everyone is pinning hope on. And I think if you listen to the commentary given by some of the FMCG companies that declared the numbers, I think still there is an area where there is still a question mark for them. So we need to wait and watch. But good thing, which I believe will happen, maybe not the October to what we call December quarter, but that number will start reflecting maybe Jan to March and maybe April to June quarter. And reason I'm saying so, because of the big money that's going to come out due to election. Election is like a marriage for the political party. A parent will save a lot of amount for the children's marriage. You know, पैसा जमा करता और एक साथ वो marriage के पास निकलता है. And that really boosts the consumption cycle in the economy. Something similar, every 5 years political party will collect fund and that money will suddenly come out in the open. Why? Because they need people to attend their sabhas. They need to ferry people from one place to another place where they are conducting that sabhas. They need to fit them with chai, samosa, thali and whatnot. And election commission also come out with the rate that how much you can charge, so and so. Now, in a way, it gives fillip to the economy. It basically increases the activity, and FMCG company could be one of the beneficiaries. Why? Because वो biscuits का packet दे देते हैं, उनको कुछ नींबू पानी देते हैं, कुछ ना कुछ. I'm just giving an example, and that will spur the growth for the FMCG company. That's the one. In fact, I was reading one interesting article, or I was watching video, which said this year in November, December, the highest number of marriages are going to take place in India. And the amount of money that's going to get spent will further give fillip. How much that goes to FMCG is not, it's a little question mark, but it will give fillip to the consumption cycle. That's what this. So that two things which is going to play out and we should watch very closely. Number one, the number of marriages, and I'm so sure I can now give, and even I'll ask Mohit little later when our question answer starts, that is he attending more marriage this year as compared to last year? Or maybe he must have, did he receive more marriage invitation as compared to last year? And probably the answer should be probably yes. I did not ask him, but I'll definitely ask him little later. It has happened in my case where I'll be attending more marriage this year as compared to last year. Maybe something similar will apply to you too. Now let me come to the India Inc. performance so far for the month of, for the quarter in September. Very good performance India Inc. has reported. If you look at the quarter-on-quarter growth, 4.4% on top line, 4.7 and 8.9% in the bottom line. And in terms of Y-on-Y, almost 27% jump in the net profit. This despite interest cost for India Inc. has gone up because of the rate of interest has gone up. And once more and more companies come out, maybe I'll try to include interest cost also in my part of my presentation. Very quickly, positive and negative trend. India for the second quarter was the fastest growing economy in the among the emerging economies, much higher than the China also, 7.8% real growth versus China 6.3%. And India, which is what IMF has predicted, India would be the third largest economy in GDP by 2027. We have been improving. 2020 we was number 6. It came down to it improved to number 5, and we will further improve to number 3. And that means if we are betting against India, probability is very high that you will lose money big time. So I think that's a one positive trend. And the negative trend is that 10-year treasury in the US is very close to 5%, which could mean that you know, when someone which is US is considered risk-free, am I right? And if that is so, क्या होगा? If someone is giving you 5% risk-free, then those who are competing for that kind of an money, they need to offer a little higher, because you don't have that same kind of a the lender will not have the same kind of comfort level that US Treasury bond would have, and they would demand for some premium to give money to some other countries, and that could further put a pressure on the cost of borrowing for the other parts of the world. That's a negative trend. Very quickly, Sensex and Nifty both declined in this week, but small cap closed in the green. I again repeat, small cap closed in the green this week. FI, in fact, I predicted it, I was proved wrong. FI have been continue to remain net seller of 2,400 crore. If you remember last week, I said there is a high probability that FI will turn positive when I come to you next week in front of you, but that didn't happen. And overall, month to date, they have been down by 12.146 crore. SIP accounts have been record, and I think even though the FIs are selling, retail investors are keep pumping money, and they continue to believe in India's growth story. With this, let's open the floor. But before that, let me again reiterate what Mohit has been saying, that massive 47% discount on the Markets Mojo subscription for 2 years. Not only the discount, but it comes with 6 months extra. So it's a like, double dhamaka, I would say so. Discount bhi hai, or 6 mahina extra bhi hai. And as Mohit rightly said, you can extend as many times you wish to do that. There is no restriction. So if you do it for 2 times, your subscription, instead of becoming 2.5 years, will extend by 5 years. If you do it 3 times, it's 7.5 years, and 4 times, 10 years. And the beauty of this price is that the new thing which Mohit discussed about will be part of this package. Once this new features get added, very obvious, the price will go up, and then you'll be asked to pay higher prices. So I'll request all of you, that link is available. You can use that link. That only will help you to avail this price. Otherwise, if you go to the website, you will not be able to get the same price because the offer are little less attractive on the website. Exclusively for our webinar attendee, this offer has been made. With this, let's open the floor for question answer. And Mohit, before I take the question from Mohit, did you receive more marriage invitation this year as compared to last year?
Yeah, but I thought a lot of people got married in a similar year, so it may be a result of that. I didn't apply logic to that, I'm sorry.
No, what is the logic, sorry?
Meaning a lot of people's kids are turning 24, 25. So they must have married on a specific, a lot of marriages must have happened some 27 years back is what I thought.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I didn't put a logic to it, but you're right, the trend is on an up swing. But, I can tell you that the amount of spending that is happening in the market today, even despite the prices being where the prices are, it's incredible. I can give you a specific example. I was planning a Diwali party at home, Sunil. And I called the caterer. I have a caterer that always comes and caters at home. 6 months back, I had done with the same caterer, and his prices are double.
Double?
Double. So his, and when I sat with him, he's a Sardarji. When I sat with him and he gave me the breakup, I really thought that it is reasonable.
Oh, acha.
Because where the prices were 6 months back, where the prices are today of vegetables, of this, of diesel, of manpower, of everything that he made me count. He actually quoted me double. I negotiated, but he quoted me double. But that's where the prices are. I have somebody whose son is getting married, who lives in my building. A large marriage, maybe around 2,000-3,000 people.
Oh.
And his view was also the same. He's, 2 views he gave me. He said nowadays the bridal dresses are more expensive than the diamond jewelry.
Oh, so Mohit, I'll also tell you something very interesting there, okay?
And the per plate cost is whether you do it even, a normal wedding, per plate costs are almost as high as they used to be in the 5 stars if you do it outside. So yeah, that's a trend that is emerging, but people are still spending, so that's a good thing. The 26% growth in net profit is showing somewhere, I guess.
Okay, so Mohit, am I invited in the Diwali party? Because then I called my wife and said, don't, Sunil, Sandhya, I am having a Diwali party. Don't cook it, okay? But I think very interesting, I was attending.
I would love to keep a Diwali party for all the investors.
Yeah. Oh, for the investors. Well, that's a good thing, actually.
Good
And he gave a very interesting that, you would buy lehenga for marriage, which would cost you about 10 lakhs. And you don't think of a, resale value for that.
Yeah.
But you asked me a question.
I have actually cracked an equation of the same 10 lakh lehenga. I can get it done for 50,000.
Wow.
If anybody wants an answer how to do that, please ask me. I will tell you guys.
Okay. So
Okay.
he said there is a when you buy a diamond jewelry and you ask me 10 lakh का क्या उसका resale value होगा? बोलता है that's a very stupid question of yours because why he said because jewelry है फिर सोचने का क्या कि उसमें resale value can if you buy a diamond which is a diamond only not the diamond studded jewelry then you should look at it as an investment point of view. Otherwise diamond jewelry you should not ever should look at it as an investment कि उसका मुझे resale value क्या आएगा?
No, I have a lot of friends who work in the diamond industry and a lot of clients may be also there. I think diamond jewelry has zero value. I think solitaires have value, which is stone-based, gems that you're talking about, because they can be valued. But otherwise, I have always believed in not going for diamond sets, but the solitaire sets, because the individual solitaire has value rather than the smaller pieces of diamonds. But anyways, we're digressing from the topic. Let's move on to the Q&A, please. Mohit sir, Umakant ji, thank you so much for being there every week. I see you and your question is also there. Thanks for giving us confidence to stay invested in equity market. I'm a member of PMS also, which industries according to you are poised to give excellent returns. Sir, if you are a member of PMS, you should look at the industry picks that we've done within the PMS. That will give you the trend that we are talking about. And I hope you're logging in out there to see the industry categorization that we have. But Sunil, if you have, I have two questions for you. Are we declaring a Diwali portfolio this year?
Okay, and the answer is no. My colleague Karan can do that actually.
No, I'll do it.
Okay, Mohit can do it. That's the thing. Okay.
But I can tell you that there is some very exciting things that we're doing. You know, you have stock of the month. I'm proposing from 1st of November, we give you stock of the week.
Oh, wow.
I'm proposing we don't give you stock of the month, which is one flavor, which is a fundamental pick. But I'm proposing that we should have 4 flavors in a month as stock of the week, primarily towards, say, a turnaround stock that we feel that is currently not doing well, but can do potentially very well. And as I said, that these stocks can be sell and strong sell on the system. So we are doing some very, very radical changes. And as Sunil is pointing out, that this offer that we are giving you is primarily to ensure that you don't come back to us and tell us that, you know, the same price that was available, we are like the onions, that we've increased the prices by 30-50%, because we will be the onions in November. We will increase that price. So I'm pre-warning you and pre-booking. You can hoard it today. The way you hoard onions, you can hoard the membership. But Umakant ji, thank you so much. But you know, all of that is available out there. Industry specific, on a specific industry, I would not like to comment.
Mohit, you had 2 questions for me. You asked me only one, but.
Mr. Gala is saying, hi Mohitji and Sunilji, in your initial remarks you discussed the new stock strategies, but most of them are present today as well under screener section. Can you share insights on how it is different and why will it be effective than the present strategy? Also, my spouse wants to thank you for the onion prices as she's talked up before. Mr. Gala, thank you so much. So, see, there is a difference out there. There is a difference in between a list and a strategy, right? Today, if you go to a screener and you put some parameters, it says 800 companies found, right? When we work on, now if you go to Mojo Stock tells you when to enter a company and when to exit a company. So the main thing in equity markets is somebody to tell you when to buy a company and when to sell a company. That is not there in the screener. So, and the screens that we are working on will work on the same parameters at which we work on the Mojo Stock, which is selecting out of those 800 companies, which are the 30-40 companies that you should be looking at, when to buy, what price to buy, what price to do profit booking, what price to get out of those particular stocks when the trend moves out. So the success rate of some of the screens that we've seen are in the range of 30-38%, which is not something which is to write home at, right? We are not going to launch something unless we feel that the success rate is something which is worth launching. Like if you see today, if you have Mojo Stocks as an instrument in front of you, you can just download the past calls and you can see what is the success rate out there. So we are looking at a very, very high success rate possibility. That's number one. Number two, it is different. Yes, it is different because we have lakhs of customers, right? A lot of customers, and this experience has come to me from traveling and meeting these customers. There are some customers who don't want to take the risk. There are certain customers who want to take the risk. There are certain customers who are basically saying, can I do a stock SIP? There are certain customers who say that there are 50 stocks, which is that 1 or 2 stocks that I need to buy. So stock of the week for somebody who wants to run a SIP and then, guided investment on that. You have a turnaround, which is typically a very aggressive, like you have a sole portfolio in PMS, things that are currently negative, how can they turn around? So, for example, we've been so far being only fundamental and saying that if you have a score of 70, 75, 80, buy that stock, right? What if I were to buy that stock when the score is, say, 25? Is it feasible? And you'll be surprised when we come out and show you the results of the reverse calculations that we have done in terms of how the stocks revive. So this is a completely different orientation of various features that we are coming in. And as Sunil is pointing out, I'm not going to make these features purely just simply a part of Mojo Professional. When we club these features, the price can be as high as 70-75,000 rupees. But we want people to come and profile themselves and say that if I'm this profile, I just need to take the turnaround stocks. Or if I'm this profile, I just need to take something which is consistently performing out there. So we are going to give those choices, but if you're a seasoned investor and you want the whole pack, which is, you have allocation within equity, that certain fundamentally strong stocks, certain stocks on which I want to take risk, then this is a great play area. And if that is the requirement, then, that is the reason that we came out with this hurried up offer, that if you want to extend, you can extend as many times as possible, because different client fits are different. It has been 8 years Markets Mojo has done one fit. I am going to do different fits now to try and make sure that clients have sufficiently linked their investment objectives with the profile out there. I may come out with a most conservative list, which is consistent performers, for example, which is something that you can sleep well with. You may come out with, some people want to stay invested in a company and let it grow with the company. Like, the stories of Titans and so on and so forth, that smaller companies becoming bigger. So why can't we run that as a theme? And then it's a question of allocation. Stock of the week will be a choice from these multiple strategies that we have to take out one strategy. And at a future date, we may even start model portfolios on these strategies, which is a turnaround model portfolio, for example. But as I said, list of stocks versus in and out, entry and exit. Otherwise, तो 4,000 stock का list है अपने पास. You can just do a fundamental filter and get a list of 800,000. Which stock to buy, when to exit. That is where the holy grail comes. That is the in point and the out point, and that is what we are working on, with a much higher success rate, as I said. Hello sir, I am a Markets Mojo member till 2037. Please provide a very aggressive option for model portfolios so we can get higher returns. We expect that very aggressive model portfolio gives returns higher than 30% per year. So sir, we have 3 model portfolios, which is aggressive, moderate and conservative. And I think if there is a unanimous call of going for a very aggressive one, I'll definitely look at it. I don't think so there is any harm in that. The very aggressive product version that we today have is only in the sole portfolio in PMS. So if you have 50 lakhs and plus, that is the most aggressive product that we've got. The very aggressive model portfolio is actually, the aggressive model portfolio is not that very aggressive, but there can be an option that we can convert that into a very aggressive portfolio. I think if, we can do a survey maybe and try and see if investors are widespread and they're interested in a very aggressive one, then we can definitely look at that.
Okay, Rajesh is saying, hi, there is a contrast in a webinar, valuable webinar. First, you always say that past was no indicator of a future data, and in every webinar, and today you also saw the past data before 15 days and you predicted there is a high probability to mid and small cap will outperform. So sir, this disclaimer is a part of our regulatory mandate. Okay, if you look at even the mutual fund, they would say that past performance is no indicator of future returns and subject to market risk. Now, there is always a in the stock market, it always say what is a trend, and we all follow that trend. What has happened in the past, there is a likelihood that trend will get repeated in the future. Not necessarily it will happen. That's why I use the word probability. I never said it will definitely happen, and that's what exactly you also used, word probability, when you asked the question. So we look at the trend, and based on the trend, it does give a feeling that the market should have a Diwali Dhamaka this time. And this disclaimer will come every time from us, whether you like it or not, and we'll keep saying past performance is no indicator of future. But that's what the mandatory requirement from the regulator.
It works the other way. If past performance of an advisor is minus 10%, it is no indicator of his future performance.
Future performance also, that's true.
So, if let's assume that this is a very, this is not just a regulatory framework environment, I think it is also because there's a lot of retail investors. They need to understand that sometimes people treat stock market also as, because you have the major inflow of new investors coming in. They also treat it like, मेरे को 35% रिटर्न लास्ट ईयर मिला तो अभी भी 35 मिलना चाहिए, राइट? सो दैट डजंट हैपन. इट्स योर हार्ट बीट इज एज गुड एज द स्टॉक मार्केट, राइट? सो it can go up and down and all the stuff, and all that we have to tell you is that consistency of performance is over a longer period of time. If you are looking at past performance and trying to mirror that, that is impossible. No 2 years will be the same in the market. The only thing that we do out here is we look at numbers and we take an educated guess and tell you the guess can come right, the guess can go wrong, but that is our best effort to give you our view in terms of where we are seeing. And the same view we take in our funds. It's not that we take a different view, whether we run our PMS or we run model portfolios or the Mojo Professional platform, the same view will be available out there. But the benefit of a video approach in front of you is that we can explain that better to you. But absolutely, there is nothing that that we say is essentially 100% good. There is no 100% in equity markets anywhere. There is no 100% in any projections that people do.
Oh,
Shailesh ji is saying, please record my objection to the word cheap by Mohit sir. Markets Mojo is usually undervalued as it is for retail investors who have to compete with the entities having huge resources at disposal. Shailesh Singh, Eden Follow. Sir, I take back my word and I record your objection. I would say it is underpriced. As you said that it is undervalued, I would say it is underpriced. There is this whole thing of I need you to typically follow and invest because tools are in everybody's hands. You may have a certain tool in your hand, Sunil may have the same tool in his hand, I may have the same tool in my hand. How I use it is the difference. So I'm going to do a series of presentations to you to show you now over 8 years what kind of a wealth we've created. If you've created and you have been a member for say 3 years, 4 years, for whatever amount of time, the use of the tool is in your hand. So we may create the best of the products, but they have to be used by you. So as I said, that we will keep doing, differential strategies for differential customers. Ultimately, you have to use and implement those strategies. And that is the only expectation from your side. As I said that I've already noted down your objection.
Even Mohit, when you said word cheap, even I was surprised that why did you use the word cheap actually?
Okay, I note down your objection as well, sir.
Sir, I'm not able to pronounce you, but
Khuradet ji, it is a pleasant experience to attend your webinar. Thank you very much, both Mohit and Sunil sir, for valuable information sharing. Kindly give your opinion on the sugar sector, sir.
So sugar, I think India would definitely have a shortfall of sugar this year, and that's one of the reasons our export has been extended beyond October now. So that is a export will. So I think Brazil also has a good quantity, but price of sugar has gone up in the international market. There is one fear that which I have. One is that it's an election year. So probability is very, very high that FRP, that is a fair and remunerative pricing on sugar cane, which is a raw material for the sugar company, can go up. But the MSP, that's the maximum selling price on sugar, may not go up, and that could be a little challenge. So it's a situation is a little evolving right now. We are little neutral as we speak on the sugar for the short to medium term. But over long term, I think because of ethanol story, I think the sugar scenario looks extremely good. So if you have a short term view, I think it's not going to outperform significantly. But if you have a medium to long term, I think it can outperform significantly. RS is if T is 1.4x more digit showing and 6x more means 600 will increase, or does it the chart shows wrongly 6x instead of 1.6? Could you please clarify as mentioned? No, sir, it's a 6x. We have taken it from Hindustan Unilever presentation. It is 6x only. It is not 1.6x. So why Sunil is not doing Diwali portfolio? Sir, in PMS you have a lot of restrictions from the regulator, and we need to be a little cognizant of that restriction. I cannot keep discussing about stock or the portfolio. If you are really interested in Diwali portfolio, I request to please come to the PMS and we'll start your portfolio only Diwali day. अगर आपको वो चाहिए तो हम कर देंगे और आपका दीपावली का portfolio बन जाएगा.
That's well said.
Hemant is asking bit clarification essential on what so many features you explained today. Illustrator subscription expiry, whether that present personal will be enabled all this, Mohit, I think you need to answer. If not,
we haven't decided that, sir. Hemanji, we haven't decided, but I can tell you that we will be giving benefit to our long-term members. We've always done that. I'm going to stand by it. But what is that number of years of subscription you have to be eligible for all the features that we haven't decided. But as soon as we decide that, I will come back to you, Hemanji, on the open forum, and I will also we'll also tell you, if you're falling short, what you need to do at a prices that will be very reasonable. But we haven't decided that. I don't want to give a false commitment. We would be deciding all of this in the next 10 days, sir.
How do you see the Indian stock market outlook in related to US bond and dollar index? going up and dressing. So we believe that Indian equity market will outperform the US market even in dollar terms, not only in the rupee terms but the dollar terms, purely because of Indian economy is going to do extremely well. Indian earnings, as we have just said, that initial trend does give very promising outlook. And number three, the flow that's coming. I would not be surprised in the coming few months, we see more and more weightage increase of India by the global broking house. That means we have recently seen JP Morgan increasing India's weightage and introducing in the debt bond market India's weightage, which will bring in a lot of inflow of forex. But equity could also see an overweight from many broking houses, and that could mean more flow coming in from the FIs or for the foreign investors. At the same time, domestic inflow will continue to remain robust, and if you have a growth in earnings and good liquidity, I think market has to go up. If you remember, in the beginning of 2023, I predicted that rupee should go below 80. It has not happened. In fact, it has not done that. So that's where I'm going wrong. But I do believe that rupee ideally should appreciate against the dollar, and if that happens, even in dollar terms, that appreciation will reflect in the overall returns. Ram Mohan is asking, there are a lot of expectations from EV and AI boom. It is requested to have a separate seminar to discuss the prospective sales in this sector. You are right. There is a huge scope, and I think it's only the EV that will be there on the roads in maybe 10 years or 12 years down the line. And AI will become a part of our everyone's life, whether we like it or not. It will become more like a commodity. The way we mobile phones and laptops have become a part of our life, AI will become. So it will become more of a commodity. So today it looks little novelty, but everyone will have to have, like it's like an internet. Everyone has an internet, am I right? You have. Same way AI will have, depending upon only the speed, the way internet has a speed difference, the same way AI will have the level of AI, but AI will become, you're right, we can do a, see my only worry right now is that we don't have a too many pure play either in EV or in AI. And EV, I believe that EV of next 5 years would be quite different than EV of today. EV is going to be more like a software than the hardware, you know, in the sense the EV that will sell the most, not because of it's a EV, because of the kind of software that comes along with that, in terms of, you know, what kind of screen, what kind of display, what kind of added feature that comes, and that's going to decide what will, which EV will sell. So I think today what we are seeing, like, you know, initially when the mobile phone came, I don't know whether you've seen the first mobile. My first mobile was like a, इतना बड़ा और इतना heavy था कि मैं किसी को सर पे मार दूँ तो उसका खून निकलने आए. वैसे that kind of a mobile today, and that was a touchpad. You know, you have to type on that. And today we have a smart mobile. So what happened with the mobile phone? Something similar is going to happen with the EV. And I have a strong belief the leader of today, EV, are not going to be the leader of tomorrow in terms of EV. Something similar happened with mobile phones. My first mobile phone was Siemens. And Siemens is no longer manufacture mobile phones. And then I moved to Nokia, and Nokia is out of this one today. Am I right? And something similar will happen with the EV space also. And AI is still evolving. We don't have a pure play in India for AI. Mohit, what was your first mobile phone? That interest, that which brand that was?
First was BlackBerry.
Oh, I also
which almost got over. Then it was Nokia that got over. Then it was Motorola.
वो भी बिक गया.
Yeah. So
तो मोहित जो भी फोन लेता है वो कंपनी बंद हो जाती है.
बोलो एप्पल लिया हुआ है. So anyways, after 6 months, this is the first time we are having an exclusive webinar offer before the price increase happens, which is 19,999 for 2 years, 6 months free. This is at a 47% discount. It is only applicable to people who are attending this webinar right now. The link is available. We'll also send the link through the email in case you missed it, but make sure that you would have extended. And with that note, thank you so much. We'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend. Keep buying onions. We have to make sure that we price hedge ourselves. Sunil's prediction is 30% is not enough. I am again going tomorrow morning to stack up, and so should you, I think. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.